So this, my lord, is my first submission relating to the judicial review of the decision. Being an economic policy measure, your lordships would not review the decision, my lord, judicially. That's one.
See, it is only on the merits. The court will not go into the merits of the decision.
That's right.
But it can always go into the manner in which the decision was taken.
Yes, yes. That
two things are totally different.
It could.
Because it's an economic policy, the court cannot fold its hands and sit.
But
merits of the decision, it is for the government in its wisdom. It knows what is best for the people.
Lordship.
Or ought to know.
Lordship.
But while taking that decision, what was the material on record, consideration of relevant considerations, not taking into...
Beyond that, to take it would go against the run of play as far as economic policy measure decisions are concerned. Because then, how would your lordship will reconcile the older judgments with proportionality principle? I respectfully submit. Your lordship will consider that. So this, my lord, is my first submission relating to the judicial review of the decision. Being an economic policy measure, your lordships would not review the decision, my lord, judicially. That's one.
See, it is only on the merits. The court will not go into the merits of the decision.
That's right.
But it can always go into the manner in which the decision was taken.
Yes, yes. That
two things are totally different.
It could.
Because it's an economic policy, the court cannot fold its hands and sit.
But
merits of the decision, it is for the government in its wisdom. It knows what is best for the people.
Lordship.
Or ought to know.
Lordship.
But while taking that decision, what was the material on record, consideration of relevant considerations, not taking into...
In any policy decision...
It has also relied on Gwalior Revan and Birla Spinning in support of this
Yes.
The earlier judgment.
Yes, yes. Correct, Milord. So therefore, Milord, I respectfully submit, Milord, that the proportionality principle also cannot be applied to that extent. Now, the second aspect of judicial review of this decision, Milord, is the question of burden. My learned friend was brushing it aside, Milord, yesterday, that the burden doesn't matter. But, Milord, there is Constitution Bench authority, which is still not stated to be incorrect or anything, that the onus primarily lies on the petitioner. If they are not able to produce evidence in support of their plea, they cannot require the respondent to show that the plea is untenable. Milord, this is Constitution Bench, Milord, 1966, 1 SCR 430, Ramkishore Sen. Milord, I'll hand up that judgment, Milord. It's not in that compilation. Just for the record, Milord, I'm not placing the judgment also. It's a fairly well settled proposition given. Oh, they have taken the book. It is untenable. Now, this is happening, Milord, every day by a casual argument. That show us, we will find out. It's happening every day, Milord. An argument is made, oh, I don't have this document. But you'll produce it, then we'll see. It's happened in the case of the quorum point also. But the law still remains this, Milord, and I respectfully submit, Milord, that in a case like this, it should be applied. Now, the third aspect, Milord, on the merits, Milord, I just want to make a very brief submission, Milord. We can't go into all the aspects which my learned friend's affidavit deals, because an overall view must be taken of the matter. Now, before I go there, Milord, I just wanted to indicate what were the essential elements of this decision. First of all, Milord, full value is to be given for all legitimate currency. That's number one. No currency is taken away. Full value is to be given for all legitimate currency held by everybody. Of course, if it is being held illegitimately, then there is no question of, Milord, taking that into consideration. That's number one. Number two is all non-cash methods of transacting are still available during that period. So, my lord, credit card, bank, check, everything, all available. And third thing is this, my lord, that there were steps to contain the use of cash. One of the purposes of this exercise was to actually try to control the use of cash, curtail it. And that, my lord, we have mentioned at page 38 of our compilation affidavit, my lord. I don't have to take your lordship there, but this is, my lord, the position which has been stated. Now, therefore, if these are, my lord, the basic elements of this decision, then, my lord, to quibble over matters like, what about those notes which were printed 3 days back? Now, what happens? On the one hand, if the nation, if the currency printing presses were told, you stop printing these notes, well, the message is absolutely loud and clear. Number one. Number two is, what will happen if I do that? The government will lose some money. There will be some expenditure involved in it. But in order to achieve the aim, that expenditure, my lord, is a pittance. So, my lord, arguments like, it's absurd to print a note today and demonetize it tomorrow. My lord, this is not an argument of law. It's not an argument of law. My lord, it's something which people may raise, but not, my lord, in a court of law. In fact, my lord, what we have done in one of our affidavits is to show that elaborate measures were put into place to remonetize the economy, if I may use that expression, my lord. These elaborate measures, my lord, are contained in paragraph 11 onwards, 11 to 17 of our first affidavit. One. My lord, I am not going to take your lordship through the whole thing. I just want your lordship to glance at the depth and, my lord, the extent to which, the detail to which, my lord, this whole exercise went. My argument being that if from first day elements were put into place with such great care, then can you say that this was a thoughtless decision? Page 40. Page 41, it starts. Bottom. This is my compilation of affidavits filed by the Reserve Bank of India. 4 of them are there. Affidavits. There is one compilation of notifications and other instruments, and there is one compilation of affidavits, and now there is a compilation of judgments.
Oh, there is a compilation of affidavit, not this.